them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 884, A Gentleman's Guide to Killing and Stuff.
Oh, yeah, based off the Broadway play.
So clever.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So clever. Can't believe you. Oh my gosh, didn't think of that.
People listening, if we actually end up using this, have no idea. Like, we've recorded the intro to the show like 5 times because I'm traveling and the Wi-Fi at the Holiday Inn Express is dog. Who would have thunk it?
Who knew?
This is great though. You sound perfect. You didn't skip one bit of the intro this time without the video though.
Okay, so maybe we'll make it through. So
I'm just gonna use AI for Tom's avatar, so we'll see what we end up.
Oh, my God.
make me look like a bunny rabbit.
There you go.
Say, put him with the monkeys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like he's fronting the monkeys.
Yeah. So, I guess let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. Before we dig in, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn. Wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you are there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That's super helpful and greatly appreciated. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page and join the group. It's a great way to stay connected and talk to your fellow listeners. People who were kind enough to share an episode this week. Oh, yeah, it's called the League of Show Sharers. Did I say that part? Probably not.
Who knows?
But people who were kind enough to share an episode this week include Brendan McGuckin, Tammy Lynn Powers, Betts, Lane Levanway, Richard Crotcher, Ralph Tribble, Julianne Jordan, Gabriel Lugo, Chris Magic Man, Tom Dowdy, Taylor Ward, Heather Sachs, who was the first person to notice that our audio file was not complete last week.
Hey, man,
so
I got to tell you, I appreciate when people say that because otherwise we would have no idea.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's really... It was a marketing test, Heather. Congratulations, you guys. We were trying to figure out, do people actually listen to all the way to the end of the episode?
We have 2 listeners.
Yes, we have two
of you who do that.
Hey,
so.
just to be clear, and I appreciate it, you guys. If there's ever technical issues, let me know. But I was editing from a hotel when this happened, so like I was out of town editing it, trying to get it up as soon as possible, so it wasn't delayed. And like
that's what she said.
So I didn't get to I didn't check it real. I uploaded it. Everything looked fine. The video was fine and all that. So appreciate the catch there.
And then Joe Faubert, Jason McLean, Batman Rye Guy, Mike and Oscar, Colby Mack, Cinema Recall, Ivan Alejandro, Geek to Me Radio, Nostalgia Cast, Stone Gassman. Hello, Stone.
Ooh.
That's a new one. Ronnie Castle and Matt Naglia. So thank you very much for sharing an episode. Also, don't forget, we are available on Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers. It's $5 a month. What do you get for that $5? You get ad-free episodes, you get all sorts of bonus content, and you get our undying love and gratitude until you stop giving us $5 a month. So then it dies. So and we're on YouTube, but maybe not this one because our video's not working because of Holiday Inn
Kevin and I will be.
Oh, some of us are on YouTube.
I might be a cartoon bunny rabbit.
I'm
might
gonna
be.
do
I
my
did want to say
damnedest. We'll see how quickly and efficiently that goes.
we on our send help episode, we did get a really nice comment on the episode on Spotify.
Okay.
Yeah.
From Beth Rhine, which I thought was really nice. She said, "Let me just say how much I love this podcast. I'm a longtime listener, and I can remember the time back to the days of Dan's songs and Blake's jelly making. It was salsa, but we'll let it slide. Love to see that after all these years, the guys are still putting out great content. I always smile when I get the little notification that a new episode has dropped."
That's
so that was really
awesome.
nice.
Thanks,
so yeah,
Beth.
you can totally leave comment. Like if you listen on Spotify, you can leave comments on the actual episode itself. I don't think it allows you to review the show.
You can review the
like
episodes,
review it
basically.
proper,
It's
but
like,
you can like comment on the episodes.
Yeah. Okay, so the nice ones go through. I have to approve the mean ones. Okay,
Right.
it knows. It's like, hey, do you want this comment up there? You sure?
Yeah, right. No, I don't. I don't need to. My ego does not need the kick in the dick from somebody else. My audio has stopped.
What? I hear
That's
you.
Tom. That's Tom just sent a message to the Facebook
no,
Messenger.
it sounded perfect before.
It did.
Oh, well, that's a bummer. It sounded great. Crap. Well, phooey. I don't know what.
Just use this opening part.
That's
I
it.
mean, we
That's
may
the
have to
review.
record tomorrow, honestly.
Huh. I would suggest Tom restarts his browser, and it should join again and continue. Can you message him to restart?
Yeah,
Just press
yeah.
refresh on the browser. All right, thank you.
Hold on one second.
Crap. Darn Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah, get it together.
Yeah, I hear you guys now.
Okay.
Hey, there he is.
You didn't cut out the whole time until then, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, just all of a sudden it was just nothing.
Okay, yeah, and your upload looked like it stopped for a while, and now it's caught back up. So it must just be like someone streaming Netflix on their internet or something. You know,
What
it keeps
a bunch
dropping
of
it.
dicks.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I say let's go forward because I think everything went fine until you said you dropped, but Joe was talking, and then it should be good.
Okay.
Yes.
So
What was the last thing you heard, Tom?
You were talking about the review from Spotify.
Yeah, so Joe's
Okay.
like, I don't want to be kicked in the dick anymore by mean comments.
I don't.
and
Yeah,
then-
mean comments on Spotify.
that's
I'm
it.
good.
Okay. Yes, I don't think any of us want to be kicked in the dick.
well,
Although I
mean,
guess
There's no kick
They're-
shaming on this podcast, Tom.
they're out there, but they're not here among us
That's
to the
fair.
best of my knowledge.
That is
Yeah,
fair.
So, well, okay, well, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
Man, I wanted to love this movie.
Joe, do you know
Same.
anything about the book or
No.
the music? I mean, do you know anything about the inspirations, the original movie? This is a remake of.
No.
Okay, so
So this is actually this was interesting. I went into this completely blind.
okay, you didn't know anything about this.
I didn't know
story.
any. I knew that it was Glen Powell and A24. That's all I knew. Because like this week was super light. Like there's nothing coming out. I will say, the sheer amount of studio horror that has come out since January 1st is
Yeah, 'cause
wild.
it's the only thing that makes money consistently.
I feel like we're getting a new horror flick every
they're
week.
cheap,
Yeah.
and they make money. People show up to the
Yeah.
theater for them, so they're going to just
Well, I feel like
drop one
even-
every week.
That's true, but even compared to like last year, I feel like we're getting more.
Yeah, no, I
You know what I mean?
think it's just
and then
a smart
next week
business
is
decision. you
Next
know?
week is going to be a massive tentpole horror movie.
Yeah, and they all got to get them ahead of that for sure. But real
Yeah.
quick, just while we're here, so Joe, quick rundown of what this is. So there was a 1907 book called Israel Rank, the Autobiography of a Criminal, a fictional book, but that's what it's called. And it's the account of how this guy climbed up through the ranks to inherit a fortune. I mean, it's the story that you see in this movie. It was adapted into a 1949 film starring Obi-Wan Kenobi, Sir Alec Guinness himself, playing eight.
I was like, Ewan McGregor wasn't born yet. What are you talking about?
not your Obi-Wan Kenobi. But it
Alec Gillis is also my Obi-Wan.
no,
but, like,
Joe,
I
you
watched,
started
yeah.
with the prequels. We know.
I started with them in 1999. I'm 44. I'm going to be 44 years old.
He swore them off. He said, "I'm not for this space crap." And then Ewan McGregor showed up, and he's like, "Oh."
I'm in.
So there was a 1949 movie with Alec Guinness, and he plays 8 of the family members. And so then flash forward to, let's say, early 2000s, and someone gets the idea to make a musical that's essentially based on the movie. I mean, it's all the same story, but it's very similar to the movie. And they have the lead character, Monty, trying to inherit this fortune. He finds out he's a Dysquith, and the Dysquith family, the 8 of them, are all played by the same actor. So it's super talented, super impressive that this guy, you know, costume changes, makeup, hair changes, whatever, runs around, has to remember the lines of 8 different people and interchangeably bounce back and forth through all these characters. It's a super...
I feel like I need to interject here to say that my son was actually in this play in high school.
Oh, nice.
He played Monty. He had the lead.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
So
yeah.
So it's a, I mean, if anyone has the chance to see A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which is the title of this play, you should see it. It's hilarious. The songs are great. It won Tonys, I believe. I don't know how many.
I think it was best musical, I think, in 2014, I think, 2012.
And so, yeah,
something like that.
I don't know how many others it won. I think it won multiples, but it's a great show. So funny. But anyway, so this movie kind of, you know, gets away from him playing all the characters. When I went into it, I had never even seen a trailer, and I thought Glen Powell was going to play all the characters. I'm like, that would be really impressive, right? Because I've seen the movie, I've seen the play. I'm like, that's kind of the thing, right? It's like a tour de force when you can bounce back and forth and play all these. A little disappointed.
You know, I wonder if they didn't do that because he just kind of did that in Hitman.
Well, you know, that's funny.
That's a good call.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because I was thinking in my mind, I pictured Glen Powell playing a bunch of different characters, and so I just presumed that was this movie, or that he was going to do that. And when he didn't, you know, when it's clearly Ed Harris in the shadows, or de-aged Ed Harris, or whatever they were doing there.
You know what I thought was funny about that is it's definitely supposed to be a younger Ed Harris
in the shadows.
And I do wonder if they were like, we're not paying for that, just put him in the shadows.
Well, it's like, I think that they de-aged him a little bit or something, and then they're like, well, we got to put this in deep shadows because this doesn't look right. I think that was probably a post effect or something. But, you know, it was clearly him. But when the different actors started showing up, I'm like, oh man, it's kind of a bummer, because again, like, it makes even the movie, which the movie isn't as silly as the play. Like, Alec Guinness is not really being that goofy. It's an entertaining movie, but like the play is really, really fun. So I did kind of miss that aspect, and I think Glen Powell, or we know he could do that because we just saw him do the multiple characters thing. Right. But anyway, so they take away that conceit, but essentially it's the exact same plot of the 1949 movie. And so if you've seen any of these, they're all kind of telling the same thing, and it's a really fun concept. I think this is probably the weakest adaptation, though, that I've seen so far, and it sounds like Tom agrees, and Joe wasn't really too into it.
You know, the problem I had with this movie is it didn't know what it wanted to be. Like, this movie wasn't awful, but it's just it was such just a missed opportunity, because I'm like, is it supposed to be wacky? Is it supposed to be a black comedy? Is it supposed to be a cautionary tale? Like, I don't understand what it. I don't understand what it's to be, what it wants to be, and I don't think it understands what it wants to be.
Yeah, I think that was my issue with it, is that I thought, you know, when you get to the first murder, I was like, okay, this is going to be kind of like a goofball, like In Bruges kind of black comedy. But
right, because that first murder is kind of funny the way they set it up, and he's like, "Oh, I got to really think about this."
He does it on accident,
and he's like, "Oh, crap."
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like I'm into this, like I like this, but then it does lose its tone, where you kind of stop. It's not it. You stop rooting for Glen Powell, because he does get to a point in the story where it's like, dude, just chill.
Well,
you know,
the thing that they really don't play up enough in this, I think, that they do in the 1949 film, he basically makes a. I mean, I know that in this movie they allude to it, but in the original film, it makes it so much more clear that he's like has a vendetta against this family because of what they did to his mother. And in this,
I think that's fine too. But then lean into that.
But in this movie, they're kind of like, oh, you know, she said, "Don't ever stop, don't ever give up," and it's like kind of this lighthearted thing. In the original movie, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill these MFers. Like they, you know, they screwed us over." And so.
But it's so weird because, like, honestly, has there ever been a better moment in time to have your movie plot basically be, let's pick off billionaires one by one?
Yeah, right.
And so, like, they seemed like hesitant to have him actually do that, even though it's the entire reason this movie exists. And then, and you know, and the other problem is you stop rooting for him. But I also, it didn't take a turn to where I started rooting against him, right? Like
Sure.
it wasn't like Breaking Bad where like, oh, the guy I thought was the hero is really the villain, right?
Yeah.
It's just spoilers for Breaking Bad. Sorry. But it was just kind of like, oh, I guess this guy isn't so great, but like these guys really aren't any better. And so like I kind of don't care what happens to any of them, which is a bad place to land when you still have an hour left in your film.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of start feeling bad for Ruth.
Sure.
Because Ruth is this innocent person that Glen, this is his cousin's girlfriend. We'll get to Gabe from The Office. It's his girlfriend.
Is that Zach Woods?
Zach Woods, yeah.
He's great. He's the funniest part of this movie. He's the tone of this
he's
movie,
an MVP in all kinds of
stuff.
stuff.
He gets the tone. He's silly. His comedy plays off really well, and I agree with Tom. I mean, this movie should have, much like the musical, should have been sillier. It would have been more fun.
Yeah, that's what I think. You pick a tone and you run with it. I think the goofball, getting the first murder kind of happening by accident, and then thinking, and then the next scene where he's like, is it always going to be that easy? And then the next one is also kind of a thing that happens by mistake. But then he starts to, like, Glen Powell gets to a point in this story where he literally has everything. He doesn't need the $1 billion, but I mean, I guess it does kind of.
He literally could have
accident.
gotten the job at the stock trading firm that his uncle owns after the first killing. His uncle, who seems like a semi-decent guy for a rich guy, he takes him in and gives him a job after his son dies, the first killing. And he literally could have climbed the ladder and been rich and successful.
I mean, he did climb the ladder. And he was rich and he was successful.
Right. But I mean, he could have done that from the get. But again, I think it's that promise to the mother that just doesn't seem so apparent in this movie, but it's driving him to be like, I can't stop because of what she told me to do. But
I think even the promise that she says, she's like, don't quit until you get what you deserve.
Mm-hmm. Which is the inheritance. It's not just getting a job, it's the inheritance. Because they screwed her out of the family. So it's like his birthright.
That's the question, though. Like, is it... Because she lives the life, he grows up with a loving mother, loses her, and I can understand being angry at the family for not helping, but that's, I don't, like,
no. Oh.
I will say, his little reader thing, like the little green, red, and was not registering at all.
Oh, I thought I heard him talking a little bit here and there.
I heard him talking, but the little thing wasn't moving.
Oh, hey, you back?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you. Sorry if we didn't.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Kevin. I'm willing to bet a lot of Tom's audio there is going to be gone.
Really?
Yeah, because the little bars weren't moving up and down.
Oh.
If I were a betting man.
Can you still hear us, Tom?
Yes, I can. I don't think my audio ever started recording on Audacity, though. Wait, hang on. Yeah, it's not doing anything.
Oh, it's okay.
So
it says it's.
You're gonna.
Hopefully, it's
no Audacity. My local recording.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like this one is picking up your mic at least. So, I mean, even if we don't have the backup, hopefully. Well, the other thing is, too, Squadcast does have the thing where, like, it records the session. So, if we can hear you, it will record at least a backup of what we're hearing from you. So, it should be fine.
Okay.
It's kind of like a triple backup thing. So, all right. Well, yeah, let's try to push through it. So, I get what you're saying, Joe. It's just, for the plot of this story, he's taking it. I mean, and the family did screw him over. I mean, he did have a good mother that cared about him. She did raise him the best she could and all that. But the point is, he was born into a rich family. They kicked her out for choosing love over their rich bullshit, and they took away their inheritance to both of them. And so she's like, "Get what you deserve," and he uses that.
I think another problem along those lines that this movie has is the time frame that it's set in, because like it just honestly kind of strains credulity that these people in the 90s are like, oh no, not a bastard child. Like That's just like such an antiquated notion, even for uber elites at this point.
The idea that it would discredit the family name that she has this baby out of wedlock.
Yeah, this just doesn't really, from the get-go, you can tell the bones of this story are 100 years old. And
do you think it's interesting because she does hook up with the help, basically? Like Glen Powell's mom falls in love with a guy who was brought there to play for the family.
He's like a cellist or something.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like with quote unquote Wuthering Heights, where they would look down on the fact that this socialite girl ends up getting pregnant or falling in love with a person who's in lower class.
Certainly, that's the point of it, is that it's not just that he's a bastard or they weren't married, it's that it was a lower class. They want to marry, they have the chance with a daughter to marry her off and merge to another rich family, right?
Sure.
So, it's just like it's one more chance to, build their wealth, build their standing, and by marrying, even if they get married to lower class, then they're not going to have that. So, but Tom's right. That's the thing, is this is an old-timey book written in the early 1900s. The movie even takes place in like old-timey England. Like you can tell it's set a long time ago. So it's hard. It's interesting, I think, to modernize it. Like the play doesn't modernize it. This one brings it to current time. But then also, you're right, like get with the times. Things have changed, and like the bones of it, as Tom said, don't quite hold up to credulity, or that you're going to believe this family actually will make these decisions. But either way, so you have, what's his name? Beckett? I did like when the Zach Wood character keeps messing up his name, calling him whatever, is pretty funny.
Beckham.
But anyway, so he the mom dies. He's grown up now, and he's working in like some kind of tailor shop, and the company that owns it, whatever, gives his job to a rich kid. And so he's like
a nepo kid.
Yeah, right. And they're like, you can go work in the warehouse. And at this point, he's just
like, no,
pissed. It's like, what? I've been doing this job. I do a good job. I always show up on time, whatever. And they're like, yeah, but got to do what
them's the breaks, kiddo.
Do what they say. And do they give the job to? Is it the first guy that? No. The first guy's a stockbroker, right?
So we basically what we find out is that Ed Harris, who is like the patriarch of this family, writes in this ironclad will where the only way Glen Powell would get any of this like $18 billion is if everyone above him in the lineage dies. So he gets fired from this job, and then he ends up like basically finding his cousin.
Even that makes no sense, because
it makes no sense.
It's not just like this is the way the inheritance trickles down, like biologically. It's like they say there's an irrevocable trust. But like, why would they have ever put this kid in the irrevocable trust? They never liked him. They never wanted to acknowledge him. Why would he have been in there at all?
It's a valid point.
That's a good question.
It sounds like initially I thought that nobody knew who he. It sounds like a lot of them didn't know who he was.
Well, the cousins don't, but I think the uncles and aunts, the sister wrote to them, and they
the dad
rejected her.
And So he decides to find his cousin, and he takes on this plot to start killing his cousins. And he goes, and the first cousin is yuppie douchebag, living. I just watched a documentary on the Murdaws. Do you know who those people are, Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tom, do you know? So this kid reminds me of one of those Murdaugh boys.
Mm-hmm.
Just not a care for anybody else, only cares about money and popularity. So
as Ann Richards once said about George Bush, he was born on third and thought he hit a triple.
That's Landis's kid. That's what I say about Max Landis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he ends up the cousin ends up going on this boat. Glen Powell rides a sea-dune out there, and initially he thinks this is, I can't do this. This is ridiculous. And then the cousin makes some shitty comment, and he's like, never mind. And he ends up wrapping a rope around this kid's ankle, kicks the anchor off on accident because he is second guessing himself, and the anchor falls into the water and jerks this kid into the water, and that's the last we see.
But to be clear, like, he tied his leg around it. He was about to drop the anchor. He just has a moment of hesitation and drops it. But like, he was there to do it.
He was there to do
everything, but dropped it, and then it kind of slips, and he's like, "Oh, this was easy."
Right.
He's like, that ain't so bad.
Yeah, that's easy peasy. So he goes to the funeral, and this is where he meets his uncle, and the uncle's. Kevin, you make a good point where this uncle seems like a pretty decent guy. Like, it's not like,
I'm sure he's done his fair share of screwing people over and getting to where he is by stealing a lot. I don't want to say stealing, but losing a lot of rich people's money and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, he acts like a semi-decent human being, and I think especially the loss of his son kind of propels him into thinking like, okay, maybe I need to.
I get the vibe that like he's looking back on his life and he's like, some of the things I used to think were true aren't. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, because he even talks about, doesn't he, about how like he wishes he had treated his mother better.
Yeah.
And like looking back, that seems kind of dumb now. So it's like, like you definitely get the vibe. He was one of them, but like he still has the money and the status, but he's not. Yeah. As he ages, he's not the douchebag that he used to be.
Yeah,
correct. So he gives Glen Powell a job, and we should say that earlier we see like as Beckett is growing up, his mom made sure that he knew what life was like as a rich kid, but he wasn't rich, so he's taking archery lessons or he's taking the piano, and there's this girl that he falls in love with very young, and when his mother dies, like that whole world kind of just disappears, and he loses contact with this girl. And initially, I thought, okay, we see this girl again, high society, highly affluent, and it's Margaret Qualley, and I was like, okay, they're going to be a team. Like that's what we're going to do. Is these two are going to team up, and they're going to go after this money together. I was kind of right. They kind of team up, but Margaret Qualley is awful.
But yeah, this is a weird character flip. I mean, there's in the movie, the 1949 movie, there's something similar that happens at the very end with the reveal of the note and everything, but she isn't like plotting against him the entire movie. She's just a rich friend and they fool around, but she's, beneath him. Same thing in the musical that they adapt with Isabella, same character name in the movie and the musical. She's just this rich friend that likes to fool around, but she could never marry Monty in the musical or whatever his name is in the movie. It's not going to happen. And so it's weird in this movie, they completely changed it to where like from the get, she's awful. And she's like, essentially she gives him a shot to be like, hey, can you move some money around for me? This would be like an under the table thing, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I can't do that. I just like started this job and it's going well. And she's like, okay. And then like the next time she sees him, essentially she just starts blackmailing him.
That could have been an interesting take on this, right? Like if they went more of a film noir vibe, and like she's this femme fatale. I mean, they're still trying to make her a femme fatale, but like but if he wants to stop and she won't let him, like they keep flirting with these interesting tweaks to the story.
It was right there. It was right there. They
should have had it more obvious to where she does this from the beginning and he's like, I don't want to, and she's like, well, I've got the first death on you or something and you got to keep going. But like, no, he's really motivated by trying to climb up and inherit the money and all that, and she's just kind of there on the side that, come to find out, spoilers, she actually has like a PI following him and getting evidence on him every step of the way. Every outfit he wears, he's at the scene of every murder, and so she's essentially going to use that to blackmail him for his entire fortune. But yeah, I didn't like the character at all. It's a really weird version of this character that it doesn't play like that in any of the other movies. And I'm not saying it has to be the same, but I just didn't think this character.
I do wonder if it's because Beckett is so likable. You know what I mean? Like there is no, you're not really rooting against Beckett because of what this family has done to him.
Well, that's the whole crux of the story, right? Like in any of the other versions of the story, like the only reason that you're okay with this, and it's a black comedy, it's not supposed to be completely realistic, but the whole point of this is that it's the guy doing bad things against the worst people, right?
Right.
You're only rooting for him because the others are so terrible, and that's the same in every version.
So I think the fact that they change her character is because once he kills off the Topher Grace and Zach Woods and the other kid, like the uncle isn't a bad guy.
Well, and that's why he doesn't kill him.
Right.
And he doesn't.
Well,
he doesn't.
We don't know. Like, I think.
No, he doesn't kill the uncle.
No. He doesn't kill the uncle, but I think it was on the table.
I don't think so. And he says.
Because he kills his aunt.
I don't think it was on the table. I think once he meets and interacts with the uncle, he's like, "Oh, this is a good guy. Like this guy was
sure.
I'll give you a job." And there's also something endearing about the fact that he's like, when Glen Powell's like, "I'm not qualified," and he's like, "Well, it doesn't matter. Like neither was
nobody's
my
qualified.
son. Like,
yeah,
like whatever. Like it's like, you know, he's like, I'll extend you the same, even though like." That's frustrating from a Nepo baby standpoint, but it was endearing in that he's like, well, I did it for my son and now I'll do it for you. Like that's okay.
Well, this is
like
also
he's
him.
finally extended a hand to him that no one else in his family has. So
that's true. That's true.
He was never going to kill that uncle.
He says in the movie, he says as much. He's like, well, I can't, there's no way I'll go through with this now. He says,
well, there is the moment when the uncle's walking down the steps and he starts to have a heart attack. I was like, oh man, he got him. But it is. I mean, it just turns out to be a heart attack.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's.
But it's so, like the uncle though is also remorseful for how he treated the sister. He basically says that he really liked the sister and she was so smart and everything, and he feels bad about not helping. And he says this as much in the movie. He's like, I should have helped you then. I'm gonna help you now. And so
I think basically he says she's the only one that stood up to the old man.
Yeah.
Like everybody else,
like clearly Ed Harris or whoever the oldest in any of these stories, you know, he's awful. Like he's the rich, horrible person. Right. You're not ever supposed to like that character. But it's also, this is what makes the movie interesting, and also it's the same with Send Help. It's the same for all these movies where you have like, oh, this rich guy's mean, but then you have to ask yourself, well, do they deserve to die because they're mean and rich assholes? Yeah. Like that's what makes these stories interesting, because you're like, who do I root for? I don't like this family, but also this guy's doing a lot of murdering, and that's not necessarily good either. So you have that crisis where you don't know who to root for.
Right.
And Glen Powell, to your point, you're like, as it goes on, you're like, man, I don't think he's a good guy.
I think where it really kind of loses itself is when you get to the cousin who's the artist.
Yeah.
Because that guy's a douchebag.
Yep.
But he's not bad.
No.
Like he's friendly to him. He invites him in. He's honestly in his own douchey way trying to help him. He's not hurting anybody.
No.
He's just a spoiled, entitled guy who thinks he's a lot better at something than he is.
Correct.
And the world will tell him he's good at it because he has money.
Yeah.
But he's not really hurting anybody in the way
he's
the
not,
other people are.
No. They definitely try, like at the dinner scene, to make it look like he is the first dinner scene where it's the cousin's girlfriend and Glen Powell for the first time.
Yeah.
Where you can definitely tell that the girl Ruth, I think is her name, and Beckett are vibing a lot. Like they have similar interests and they're into each other. And so they try to make Zach Woods' character kind of a dick, where he puts down the fact that Ruth wants to be a teacher, or the fact that they both know all of these literary titles, so he kind of makes fun of them. But it isn't enough to like ramp it up to blowing
deserves
him
to
up.
die.
Correct.
You know
Correct.
where Ruth is from, right, Joe?
Where?
From that Love and Monsters that we love with Dylan O'Brien. She's the lead character.
She looked so familiar, and I couldn't figure out.
Yeah, she was in Glass Onion too. But we first saw her. That's the first time I can remember was that Love and Monsters that was so great.
Man, that movie's so good.
It is so good, and she's really good in this. But you know,
I think she's great in this.
You can tell that Ruth and the cousin like aren't vibing, or aren't getting along, because she's like, I really want kids, and they ask him, and he's like, no, I hate kids, and he also does another funny line.
It is funny. Things like that when they pop up, it's like, That is a deal breaker.
It's a deal breaker, but not a you should get murdered.
Right.
Agreed. No, I agree. I just mean in like relationship stuff where like if one partner's like, yeah, I'd love to have kids, and the other one's like, no,
Sure,
they're gross. I don't want them. It's like, but I don't know how this
That's
works.
a big deal. That's a life altering decision, right? I mean, those are so polar opposites of the trajectory of your life. So we find out later she's like, I was going to break up with him right after that dinner.
Well, that is a sneaky ass move, right? So Glen Powell is very smart, and Zach Woods has like this makeshift dark room on the roof of this house. So he uses like different chemicals and basically finds a way that if a spark goes off, this whole thing's going to blow up and it will look like an accident. The sneaky move from Glen Powell is he doesn't want Ruth to die. So he leaves his jacket behind on purpose so it will get Ruth out of the house. So she will have to run it back to him. And I was like, that's a little sneaky. That's a little shady. You know what I mean? Like, it is what he's trying to do there is he wants to ensure he likes this girl. He doesn't want her to die, but he is still going to go ahead and kill her boyfriend.
You know, it's an interesting update. I mean, it happens similarly in the 1949 movie, but there's a flash forward to one of the relatives, and he essentially blows up, like, I don't know if he's a colonel or some kind of military. I can't remember which family member this was, but it's toward the top, and he's like at dinner, eating dinner in like a restaurant with people around him, people at his same table, and he basically opens up this can of whatever, this hors d'oeuvre, I don't know what it is, and he digs into it to eat it, and it blows up, and he's like, oh, he was gone after that. And I'm like, you just murdered like 20 people around him too. I just thought it was interesting that like it was so callous, and like he just clearly murdered without caring in that version. And so I do kind of think that more updated to try to give him a little bit more likability is like, okay, maybe let's like keep the killing a little more focused and isolated,
centralized on the one person.
But yeah, so I agree though, the cousin really was not a bad person, just a rich nepo baby out of whatever, but like he didn't deserve to die. And I do think that is where you kind of feel icky about what Glen Powell's doing, if you didn't already,
until you get to Topher Grace. And then you're like, no, kill that guy. You know, like he's
this movie felt like one of those Gary Marshall holiday movies. Like
right.
You keep getting these like famous people who they clearly only had for like 2 days.
Yeah,
right.
I thought that was Ryan Seacrest at first. Topher Grace looks just like
hilarious.
Ryan Seacrest now.
Topher Grace, I think, is one of those actors that kind of got pigeonholed into that 70s show character. Like but then he would do things occasionally where I was like, oh yeah, I kind of like this guy's kind of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love when he pops up.
Like, did you ever see Take Me Home Tonight?
I think so. Yeah, that was a while ago, right? Like 20 years ago.
That movie is so underrated.
Yeah.
Like, it is very much a Dazed and Confused kind of one night giant party meeting the girl I've had a crush on forever kind of movie. And he's great. He's great in that.
He's good. I mean, I like him pretty much in anything he pops up in. I think he's good.
Yeah, you're a huge fan of Spider-Man 3.
I like Spider-Man 3. That one dance sequence does not ruin the movie for me, but I mean, I know it's weak.
Or Tom, for that matter.
Wait, there was a dance sequence in Spider-Man 3? Why am I just hearing this?
I mean, I know it's the weakest of the trilogy, but to me, I like Spider-Man 3, so I don't care. I mean, he's not a great Eddie Brock as far as casting goes, or like his build and everything. It doesn't really make sense, but I liked it.
Alan Richardson's like, hey man,
I mean,
I can do this. I can do this now.
Yeah.
That is, if there was ever, if Henry Cavill was Superman off the page, Alan Richardson or Richardson,
Jason Momoa as Lobo, that might be the most.
Jason Momoa as Lobo is a great. Here's the thing: as I'm watching this, I was like, if they ever go back and if Chris Pratt is not Star-Lord anymore, Glen Powell is Star-Lord.
Wasn't he going to be Indy? Didn't people think he was going to be the next Indiana Jones? Was he the one?
I could have seen that.
Like, because he's got that.
Glen Powell?
Yeah.
I think there was a minute where they thought
Chris Pratt.
They thought Chris Pratt was going to be in the next Indiana Jones.
I think Glen Powell's got kind of the same thing where he could do that. I think that I agree. Star-Lord, he could do that kind of a thing.
I think Glen Powell is this generation's Tom Selleck. He's a guy who's he's always going to work, and he's going to always almost be a big thing, but he's never going to find the one thing.
He needs the role. I agree. He needs the role.
Do you think that Tom Selleck becomes the big thing with Indiana Jones?
I don't know that he does.
Really?
I think it's real easy to look at that and be like, oh,
This was the one.
I think Indiana Jones would have been a hit because it's Spielberg and Lucas, and it's obviously it's a great, well-made movie that just works.
Sure.
But if it's Tom Selleck instead of Harrison Ford, I don't know that it becomes iconic in the same way.
That's interesting.
I think Tom Selleck in that role I think he's going to do, because he's so charming and charismatic as Magnum.
Yeah.
That I do wonder if like the gruffness is what makes.
Yes, it would have had a totally different vibe. It would have been like, I'm charming the pants off of you.
Correct.
Harrison Ford is like, I don't give a shit about any people.
Right.
And then that ends up charming the pants off you, right?
Right.
And
right.
I think, I just, like I said, it would have been an interesting take, and obviously there's no way to get both versions of it, but like I don't know that it would have been the iconic role.
Yeah, I don't know.
In his hands, even though it might have been a very fine movie that made a lot of money. I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark it's a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. Like, there's not a wasted frame or line of dialogue in that entire movie.
I hope Glen Powell finds it. I hope he gets the role, because you're right. Yeah. He's good in everything he shows up in, but he's always like the second banana. He's always like a lesser than. He just doesn't have that star role that really stands out, right? He gets these roles and he's good in them, but nothing like, I mean, in that Sydney Sweeney movie, right? He's a great charismatic lead, but like, it's not going to be like in 10 years, no one's going to talk about that movie. It's entertaining. He's good in it, but it's not Indiana Jones, right? He needs that role that makes him a star, an A-list. I mean, he's high up there, but he needs that iconic role. Yeah. And I think he's capable of it with the right script. He's just got to find it. But anyway, after this death, the FBI is onto him. So we know that he's being watched, and they start tailing him throughout the movie, basically staying on him. And as things pop up, they never quite get the evidence that they need, but they're always suspicious of him along the way.
I do like the line where they show up and he's just like, look, I never talked to these people. Like, I didn't know who they were. Like, I don't know what inheritance you're talking about. And I was like, that's kind of a brilliant cover, where he's just kind of like, hey man, they kicked me and my mom out of that family before I was born.
And my uncle gave me a job. I mean, that's all I know. That's
all I know. I don't know anything about an inheritance or anything like that. And it's a good misdirect, because you can prove that this family, I'm sure he probably still has the note that his grandpa's butler gave him, which was just like another kick in the dick.
He can prove he was kicked out of this family just by showing them a utility bill.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, all he's got, it's just like, here's where I've lived for the past 35 years. Yeah, it's obvious you were not a part of that family.
Correct.
So he kills the
one of the
megachurch.
gags. I will say, one of the gags I do like that makes this kind of like a wacky comedy is him at every funeral.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a hilarious gag of him just being like, and then they use that gag at the end of the movie when the final person dies, because he's always on the other side of the family. He's always on the other side or one side of the casket. And then when the last person dies, he's on the other side.
He was close to the uncle.
Right. But I'm saying, like, now it shows that now he's a part of this family, whether he was when he wasn't before, which I thought was an interesting, like, visual device.
So he kills the megachurch, the Topher Grace character. He's like the pastor of a megachurch who obviously is running scams and getting sued all over the place.
Right.
Puts a poison in his protein shake, so he's out of that.
And then this whole thing is being framed by Glen Powell sitting on death row, telling the story to this priest, which I just think is also very funny. Like, the priest is like, "Do you have anything you want to say?" And he's like, "I got a couple hours." This is
another thing that makes no sense, why it needed to be wackier. Because if it, like,
I agree,
you're going to be on death row for 15 years before they.
Right.
This is like
he would be appealing this nonstop, right?
Right, and so like this makes it look like that from his arrest to him about to be, because the movie starts with 4 hours until his execution.
Correct.
And I'm like, he would have appealed this for 10 to 15 years, and it's been like 4 months.
That's why it doesn't work in modern times, because people are on death row, like you said, for decades. They appeal it and has to go through the court system and appeal to more courts and blah, 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 blah. So you're right. It does not make sense, especially for someone that has his money and his standing should be able to
especially, well, he doesn't have his money. Oh, I guess he does. Up until the very end. I guess he does until the very end.
But anyway, we've jumped ahead a bit.
Well, no, because he only gets. Oh no, he does have the money.
When he's got the whole. He's got all of it.
Yeah. So he takes out his aunt, who is like this. She like adopts kids and acts like she's a great person.
Yeah, she looks affluent and very a humanitarian by adopting
kids from every country.
16 kids from different countries, but then it's like you see her not parenting these children. They have a nanny.
Yeah. Well, she's just awful. So she goes to a spa, and he's like, "Hey, we have a complimentary teeth whitening treatment." And that's poisonous.
Again, like it's got these great little comedic bits where she puts the teeth whitening tray in. She goes, "Ooh, it's a little tingly."
Yeah.
And it's just like little things like that.
Here, and I was also, we have our safety instructions on everything. It's like, give me that. I don't have time for that.
So like that's what's frustrating about this movie is it does have these really funny beats
because it's a great premise. And again, I know you're not a musical guy, Joe, but the musical is a riot. It is so fun.
You honestly would like the musical because like the songs in it, they're basically novelty songs because the songs are they're funny.
They're very sing-songy and funny. It's
Okay.
But it is so entertaining, and it shows you that the 1949 movie's funny. Like, this is a great premise for a movie, and this modernization just doesn't quite nail it. Well, I think it's entertaining, but it just doesn't get that tone right, and it doesn't do it to the full potential as we've seen the musical can. Sure. But the next guy, his other rich uncle is like a Bezos type who does space exploration. He's going to fly his plane up into space.
That guy. Yeah.
He's
the line where he was like, why are you going up in space and when half of your employees don't have health care? He's like, hey man, this isn't cheap.
Yeah.
It's not. If I could do this on the cheap, I would, but it's not.
That was funny. But he gives him like something in his coffee, and then he ends up like just getting knocked out while he's flying, and the plane goes up and then starts going straight down and crashes. So he takes him out, and then I think and that's it. And there's just the nice uncles left, right?
No, I think he's also gone.
No, he's because the last he has
one. Okay. But it is funny that even the feds are like the feds keep coming back to him,
but they're like they got nothing.
Yeah, he gives a guy in his office his suit, so it looks like he is seen on camera.
Don't you think also though? And I think that this speaks to the tone of the movie and how they don't nail it. Wouldn't it have been funnier to somehow explain how he's the master of disguise? Like, he's just so good at infiltrating security. I mean, I know he says, I could buy a shirt and print a laminate or whatever, but like if he had some kind of background that lent itself to him, whether he was an actor or, he just had some...
I think they even allude to how smart he is because as soon as they put him into the stock market job, he's picking up on everything almost immediately.
But he's willing to actually work though. Everyone else is just a doofus that doesn't care.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I think that's a reference to how smart he is.
No, he is smart. I agree. but if this movie was a little more of a black comedy, if it were a little funnier, I think that it just could have been cool to like explain how he's so good at infiltrating.
This is a Hitman sequel.
Yeah. But he just does it, right? He just does it, and you accept that he's so good at sneaking into these places. But I think they could have made it a little funnier how he did it, like explaining that. But he says, he's like, I can't. We're down to my uncle and the big guy, and like I'm not going to take out my uncle.
And also at this point, he's got Ruth. Like he and Ruth are together and they're in love. They've got this perfect apartment.
He kind of gives up at this point. Is like, all right, this is enough.
And then the uncle has a heart attack. Like there is something going on at the company, and they don't really say what it is. And the uncle does have a heart attack,
but don't forget Margaret Qualley at this point. Now he thinks everything's good until Margaret Qualley breaks into his apartment, but you see her take a key off his key ring at his office, and she visits him, and he once again says, "I'm not going to give you any money or anything." So she shows up at his house and is like, "Hey, here's the deal. I'm going to take this money now because..."
Well, she's like, my husband. So she ends up marrying this douchebag from the neighborhood who is an idiot and runs his father's company into the ground, ends up being broke, and Margaret Qualley knows that Glen Powell has all these connections and can get her the money that she needs to survive, basically. So she's constantly egging him.
Well, she keeps trying to get these under the table loans, but at this point, she's like, "You got a business checkbook, and you can still use it."
Finally at the office, she's like, "Is it the house
no,
or
at
his
the house,
office?"
Because she blackmails him. So she shows him, "I now have pictures of you at the crime scene of every single death of your family, and you're eighth in line. So like clearly, either I'm going to go to the police, or you're going to get us this money." So she's like, "You've got what?" She's like, "You got 30 minutes to go show up at Wilbur's office or whatever, her husband's office, and give him the checkbook." So he like frantically has to like grab the checkbook and tells his guys to, I don't know, like clear the checks or whatever. And,
well, he tells him to sell the shares for P&G.
Oh, okay.
And that is embezzlement. Yeah, then that's exactly what he does.
So he's like, he busts into the office. The front desk sees him. The receptionist at the office sees him. He's very frantic.
As soon as he was walking through this whole thing, I was like,
yeah. I mean,
like something's going to happen.
It looks awful from the outside, right? And so he goes in there, and the jerk husband is basically just like, he's drunk and egging him on. And
I do love that this guy, he knows why he's there, and he's still giving him.
Yeah, because he's a rich
he's
asshole,
still being
right?
a dick.
Like,
it
just showed like those are the people he's dealing with. Yeah.
And he smacks him.
Yeah,
gives him the old smackaroo.
But that also gives the appearance that there was a struggle, there was a physical altercation that sets up for now. Flash forward, this a little bit of time jump happens because now he's going to be engaged. He's engaged to Ruth.
He's engaged. Yeah,
they're going to have their engagement party or whatever. And he gets an invitation.
Their engagement party.
Okay, and he gets an invitation from the old man. Finally. The first thing he says to him, he says, "Join me for dinner."
Yes. And he calls Ruth, and Ruth at this point is a teacher. Like, she's living the dream that she wanted to, that she has been provided the opportunity to be.
And but she's basically like, "Okay, that's fun and all. See you tonight at 7 for our engagement party."
I like the fact it's a catch-22 because I can, as if my partner was like, I don't know what to do here. Like, this thing is happening. I'm cannot wait to marry you, but at the same time, this wild thing is happening right now, and I don't know. And she's just kind of like, "Cool, he hasn't been a part of your life ever, and we have this party to go to." And he's just kind of, and he struggles with it, and I think that is an interesting struggle, where he thinks he's going to be accepted into this family that deserted him, but he's also got this partner that he's built a life with.
You
have a choice to make.
You definitely see where he's coming from, but like in a real world example, like you don't show up to the engagement party, there's no longer
bad
an engagement.
News bears, bro.
I mean, that's just all that's to it. But he makes this choice. He's also in deep with this whole blackmail situation. He's also one death away from inheriting billions of dollars. So it's obviously a very, the crisis is there. It's a very confusing situation. But he ends up like, even though he's like, "Okay, I'll see you tonight," and then he does end up showing up at the old man's house. He's welcomed in. It's a very weird, standoffish.
It's ready or not.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
for sure. Like,
I was thinking that too.
Let me show you to my gun
same
room.
Setup. Yeah, right. Here, hold this trench gun from your great uncle's trench gun from World War I.
And Ed Harris is great. He's always great. This is basically.
It's always good to have a second set of prints on a gun.
That's right.
But he gives him one chance. He's basically like, get a bead on something. He's like, "Try my hat right here," and puts it over his chest. And it kind of freaks Glen Powell out. And he gives him the gun back. And then he's like, "All right, got to get going." And he walks downstairs and he tries to get out the front door. It's locked. And the butler's outside the door with an umbrella just standing there, obviously knowing that he's locked in. He goes to every door, every window, can't get out. And then Ed Harris comes down and just starts a blasting.
Correct. And
he knows he killed his whole family.
Of course, he knows everything. It's so there's this fight, and finally, the Chekhov's bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Glen Powell grabs it, and I do like that the first one like shatters in his hands, and I was like, "No, it was good. I like that." Second one does not, and he immediately shoots Ed Harris twice with a couple arrows, and he dies. And I do like that when the cops show up, the voiceover is like, "It's an open and shut self-defense case." Yeah. Like, there's nothing here that would link Glen Powell to any sort of murder.
And again, that's what's so funny about this. It happens the same in all the stories. Like, this is the crux of it. He gets away with everything with this family, right? And it's just so funny how it ends up, like the irony of it all, of how he gets nabbed.
Right,
you know?
right. So the cops let him go. He goes back to see Ruth, who is visibly angry.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting dialogue where she says, something's going on with you and you need to tell me the truth or I'm out or I'm walking. So it's like, does she already know what the truth is? Or is she just kind of laying it out there and letting him, you know what I mean? Like, has Margaret Qualley already enacted her plan? Or is this another opening for Glen Powell to maybe not tell the whole truth?
Well, I mean, whatever he says to her
latter.
Gives her enough of what she needs to move forward. He basically is
he's like, I gave her just enough of the truth.
So we're billionaires now. We can afford whatever wedding you want, sweetie.
So the day of their wedding goes off without a hitch. They look very much in love. And as they're leaving
very rich.
the wedding,
they live in the old man's mansion now. Big party.
Right.
And they're greeting people. And all of a sudden, there's the FBI duo that's been following him.
And they arrest him for a murder he didn't commit.
The murder of Lyle, the husband of Margaret.
Correct.
Qualley.
They said the name, and I was like, "Who is that?"
I know, right? Because it's such a sidekick. But that's the thing. They pin it on. They get him not for all the other crap. I guess it's like an Al Capone situation, right? Like
it is
they know he killed all these people, but they can't pin it on him. But they're finally like, oh. We have him on footage going through this office and charging in and then having a physical altercation with Lyle, and it's all right there. And his knife's
it's all there.
His prints are on the knife. Okay.
It is wild to think that, like, this guy is a billionaire and he can't mount a defense.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He has so much money that he would, if not just getting off on it easily somehow, he would be delaying. You know, his trial would be going on for years and years and years. So it is a little weird for sure.
Yeah, he wouldn't even be in jail.
Right. Exactly.
He's a rich white guy.
Right. With billions of dollars. Like,
yeah, he's not going to jail. So he's in jail. Everything's doing whatever. And
everything's not going fine.
Everything is not going fine. And we find out that Margaret Qualley comes to him and says, maybe there's something out there that could exonerate you and get all this taken care of.
Like, do you think if he would have left a note that would be helpful?
And Glen Powell's, and she's being a cunt.
Well, first of all, he has 3 minutes to talk to her, and then also he's like, "What do you want? I don't need you," or whatever. She starts walking away and is like, "Oh, so I guess a note wouldn't be helpful or whatever." And he's like begging her, fighting. He's like,
"Give me that note."
He's got 30 seconds, and he's like, "What do you want?" And she's like,
and
everything.
She says, "Sign it over.
Yeah,
sign everything over." And to me, this is the turn for Glen. This is where Glen Powell is not the good guy, where he's taking away Ruth's money. He's taking away Ruth's ability to live a comfortable life.
That is an interesting thought because he's put in a situation where I think anyone would fight
this
for
is the end of Gone Girl.
But
this is the Gone Girl ending.
Yeah,
where you're like, neither one of you.
It's also kind of the ending of Nightmare Alley.
Oh yeah,
very much so. Yeah, that's a great call.
This is where I was like, okay, if this is where how we're ending this, then this whole movie should have been a lot darker.
Yeah. But I mean, the ending of Nightmare Alley and Gone Girl the ending of Nightmare Alley is a tragedy.
I mean, it's bleak.
It's bleak, and that dude he didn't make it.
I think,
you know what I mean?
I think this ending,
Gone Girl is kind of the same way.
This ending is ultimately what sours me a bit on this movie because it is a fun premise. Yes. The other versions are better, but it is a fun movie overall. But what does the ending even say? Like,
the ending says
you're rich and you're going to get away with it, and you're a horrible.
That's exactly it.
And
you're going to accept it.
See, and spoilers for the 1949 movie. I better not hear any about a 70-year-old movie. The ending
that most people hadn't heard of before of this.
So or 90 whatever year old movie. I don't know, whatever 75-year-old movie. So at the end of that movie, he gets away with it for a similar reason. So Isabella shows up and she's like, "Hey, maybe I have a note," and she's like, "All you got to do is kill off the Ruth character, and we can live together happily ever after." And he's like, so in order to get this note, it would be an exchange of said promises, whatever. And she's like, and so he decides, like, you don't find out what happens too far in the future, but he gets out of jail last minute, right before he's about to be executed. This guy runs in and is like, oh my God, they found a suicide note from the guy, and he gets cleared, and he walks out to a big crowd, and on one side is Isabella, and on one side is the woman that he's married to, the Ruth character in the old movie, and you don't know quite what he's going to choose. And then all of a sudden a newspaper guy comes up to him and he's like, hey, I'm here to buy the rights to your memoirs. The way the story's told is he's writing his memoirs before execution. Well, when he gets freed, he leaves them in the jail cell, admitting the entire story that he's telling to you. And the movie ends like, oh my God, do they find them in his whole confession and everything?
I mean, they definitely do kind of give you that sort of here. Like, he chooses Ruth, right? So he gets exonerated. The note comes out. He gets exonerated.
He does not choose Ruth.
Well, sure he does. Ruth doesn't choose him.
Right. He leaves the prison.
He goes to Ruth first.
But he but he chooses to go back with Margaret.
No,
what?
I disagree. So
I took it. I'm with Joe. Like, I took it as like he walks up to Ruth. Ruth rejects him. She leaves, revealing that Margaret Qualley's still there, and so he's like, well, I guess this is what I got.
But that's what I mean, though. But he gets in the car. He doesn't choose to just walk away from all of it. He chooses to be
true.
a rich asshole with horrible.
But
Margaret
I still
Qualley.
feel like Margaret Qualley, was the second choice.
Oh, for sure. No, I get that totally. But I just mean, at the end of the day, the story is like, well, we got away with it. We're rich. We're unhappy, and we can do whatever we want. The end. It's like, what? At least, like in the old movie, it's like, oh my God, he's gonna get caught because he left his memoirs behind. Like, he gets away with it until he doesn't. And in this movie, it's just like, oh well, yeah, they're rich. They got away with it. Cool.
Well, that's like the ending of Gone Girl, right? Like when what was that character's name? What's the actress's name?
Oh,
Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike. When she walks up covered in blood in front of the press, and there's Ben Affleck, where he's just kind of like, "What the?" And then you get to that last sequence when he's gonna kill her. He's so mad at her, and she's like, "What are you gonna do? Kill your pregnant wife?" And blah blah. And he realizes, I'm screwed. Yeah. I cannot get out of this. Yeah. And I think this is the same ending where, like, yeah, he absolutely chooses Ruth, and Ruth realizing that he has signed away all of the money because she's driving some little Honda Civic that's not great, gives them and to her credit, like, she again confirms that she's the best character and like the character with the biggest heart, where she does not keep like the locket, his mother's locket with her hair in it. She returns that and then she's like, I'm out.
Okay, but the only way this works for him and for us to even be on his side is they allude to, when he goes back with Margaret Qualley, he's going to kill her and get his fortune back.
They definitely could. Yes.
They don't lean into that enough, where again, if this is a black comedy, if it were funnier and all that, they'd be driving off and he would be looking at some kind of object or something.
But they do kind of, I mean, I think he is going from one prison to another.
He is, right. It's
for sure, especially when those gates close in the final shot. Like, it's clearly supposed to be like new prison cell. Yeah,
correct.
But I feel like they should have just set it up a little bit to where he's like, well, this isn't going to slide, because she's clearly horrible, and there's no way he's ever going to like her after what she's done. So I just wish they would have set it up in a more comedic tone of like, well, here we go again, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, so either needed to be funnier or darker
or bleaker.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, it's one of those ones where it's even more frustrating because they were so close.
Yeah.
To this being like a pretty fantastic movie. It was good. It was fun. I think it's worth a watch, but being so close to being a very, very, very good movie. Yeah.
Go see the musical if you have the chance. It does, like, seriously, and even if you're not a huge musical person, you'll like the show. It's so fun. That's the version that really nails. It's the best adaptation of any of them, in my opinion.
Agreed. So
cool.
Okay, well, I guess that brings this one to a close. I guess let's go around the virtual table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21, and on Blue Sky, Threads, and Letterboxd, all at the same.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at KevinRBrackett.
And this is Tom. Follow me on Blue Sky and Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon, $5 a month, all sorts of bonus content, and we like you a little extra. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, Miss Shingle poisoned the Earl.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you.